Surely children were made.
I was in India recently. Now I saw amazing poverty in Rio. I think the favelas are some of the worst poverty when it just comes to, I don't know if you know the word density. It means just packed together. But the poverty in the favelas is very, very hard for me. You just can't believe people have to live like that. So that's very bad. But India, a lot of poverty in India, a lot of homeless people, people who live on the streets, and they don't even have houses like the favelas. They don't have a roof over their head. I met in Chennai, where World Vision headquarters are in India. They took me out on the streets, and they wanted to show me a program where they were moving families who lived on the sidewalks downtown, just in the middle of big city, off the sidewalks and into apartments. They were going to have a place to live. And so many of the women and the children came to meet with me on the street, and I was sitting with them, and it was a sidewalk. The sidewalk was no wider than this. It was this wide. Cars going back and forth here. And then there was a wall here, and behind the wall there were railroad tracks. So trains going by on this side, traffic on this side, and about this wide of a sidewalk. And it was, about a good city block long, not 71 families, 71 families lived on that sidewalk. Children, mothers, fathers, old people, they lived there all the time. And World Vision was moving them off into apartments, family by family. But these people that met with me were still living on the street. And so their children now were going to school. And many of them had graduated and now one young man was a mechanic, one young man was a driver. They were smiling, they were happy, they were saying, we have hope now. Our life is changing because we have jobs and we're making money. And so I said to them, I said, well, tell me where you came from, because people who live on the street usually have come from the countryside. They've come because, they're looking for a better life, they're looking for work. And most of the people I've met, they come from somewhere. And I said to them, where did you come from? And they looked at me and they said, here. We were born here. Our parents were born here. This sidewalk has always been our home. The sidewalk. No roof, no walls, no privacy. I'm thinking to myself, where do you go to the bathroom? Where do you change your clothes? How do you make babies? How do you live on a sidewalk all your life? And your parents and your grandparents, it shocked me. I couldn't believe that. And I was thinking about that when all of a sudden this woman who is sitting in the back, she raises her hands and she says, Jesus is my God. And, Jesus is my God. And all of a sudden all these people started to praise God. And I thought, that's transformational development. We're moving them off the street into homes. We're giving their children an education. We're changing their whole world. For the first time in generations, they have hope. And with that, we've introduced them to the love of the real God. And they've gone from being Hindus to being Christians. And it all happened naturally while World Vision was just doing our job and helping the poor. And one final story, the woman who said, Jesus is my God, they said, you must know about Mrs. Selby. She's a hero. She saw a young woman the other day go out on the railroad tracks. Remember I told you there's railroad tracks right there? She saw a woman go out and lay down on the railroad tracks. Her life was so horrible, she just wanted to kill herself. And Mrs. Selby, this beautiful young woman, jumped over the wall, ran out on the railroad tracks, and said to her, don't you give up. There is a God who loves you. Look what he's doing for me. I live on that sidewalk, but now God is changing my life, and he will change your life too. Don't give up hope. And that young woman let her take her off the railroad tracks and take her to a policeman who would get her help. So she saved a life. And I thought, there is the way the gospel and hope is given. We give people hope. Now she was giving hope to someone else. And we see the full circle of God's blessing. So that's what our staff is doing each and every day. And that's what you're doing here in the lives of the people you're touching.